Hello everyone and welcome to a new vlog. I know what you're thinking, this is coming out of nowhere, and it kind of is, which is why I'm making this video as a precursor to what is the actual title of this video. So now that I've made that entirely confusing, here's the announcement. I am going back to 2 videos a week. I have put a lot of thought into this, but I realized that the content that I really want to make right now is not everyone's cup of tea. So from here on out, excluding this video because I'm behind by a week, but starting on Friday this week, I will be posting videos every Friday discussing, for now it'll be Wandavision, and then it'll be Falcon and the Winter Soldier, and then it'll be Loki, and then it'll probably be What If after that. But Fridays I will be making reaction videos to the newest Marvel episode that has come out that day, and Wednesdays will continue to be my regular kind of talk about whatever you all want me to talk about, because I know that not everyone is into Marvel. It's not everyone's cup of tea, but it is something that I enjoy a lot right now, and so I do want to talk about it, and I do want to theorize and stuff like that. So I'm going to do the best of both worlds. I'm going to talk about Marvel on Fridays, and Wednesdays I'll do whatever other shenanigans I usually get into. So having said that, if you're not into Marvel, if you haven't watched WandaVision yet or anything like that and don't want to get spoiled, you can go ahead and click out of this video. I will not be mad. I completely understand. I just wanted to give you all a heads up as to what this channel is going to be doing from here to the foreseeable future. So if you're not into Marvel, I will see you all next Wednesday. Bye. Okay, so if you're still watching this, I'm going to guess that you are into Marvel, or you just really like me and you're going to listen to me talk about WandaVision regardless. So if you're one of those people, thank you, because that's some dedication. I really want to talk about WandaVision just because there's so much to unpack, and I really want to talk about it in like a community setting so that we can exchange theories and ideas and stuff like that. So I'm going to tackle both episodes that came out this past Friday. And I'm going to have 3 major talking points, and that's going to be my first impressions of the show, details about the show, or details that you've missed possibly when you were watching the show, and then I'm going to talk about theories, which is a hot topic for this show because there's just so much going on and it could literally go in any direction. So without any further ado, let's get right into it. So I'm one of those people that decided to wake up at 3 a.m. on Friday to watch the new episodes, and it was a little frustrating because they didn't get put up for me until like 3:15, which was valuable sleeping time. So I might wait until that time this Friday so that I can get a little bit extra sleep. But aside from that, my first thoughts on the show is that it is absolutely unlike anything we have seen in the MCU to date. I think it's very unique. I think it's really cool, and I think it's just a breeding ground in the best way possible for people to talk about theories or little hints everywhere in the show. And I think it's gonna be something that people are gonna be talking about every week until the season is over, or show. I don't know if this one is a limited series or if they're gonna end up giving it a second season like they're already rumored to be giving Loki. But I think this is just amazing. I appreciate that they're only releasing 1 episode a week, because I think that really gives people time to kind of theorize and discuss and kind of figure out what might happen and kind of get their own thoughts in order, and then just see where it goes. Because I feel like with the movies, and I can't say anything for any of the Marvel shows before this, like Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., The Punisher, Jessica Jones, I haven't finished watching any of those series yet, so I can't speak for those. But with the Marvel movies, I think a lot of fans are kind of just used to being given the whole thing, and there's no mystery, there's no speculation really. You're just kind of like, okay, so this is endgame, everything's gonna have to tie together to be the end. Whereas with WandaVision, you get 30 to 40 minutes. From here on out, it's only going to be one episode every week, and right now it's very confusing because you have no idea what's going on, and you're going to kind of have to wait for it and work for it. And I think it's really cool that Marvel decided to go that route with all of these MCU tie-in shows, because I think it's going to make people appreciate what actually goes into making the MCU a lot more. And I think it's going to give people a lot to talk about. I personally went in as blind as possible with this show. I watched, the last trailer that I watched was whatever they showed during the Investor Day, which was back in December. I haven't watched anything else that they've released since then. No other trailers, no scenes, nothing like that. I've gone in as completely blind as possible, and I'm planning to do that with all of the Marvel shows and the episodes as they come out. Like, I'm not even looking at pictures or anything. I don't read theories, nothing like that. I just want to go in blind with my own ideas, and I like that I can do that with this show because it comes out at the same time for every person, and everyone gets the chance to talk about just the one episode, and no one can watch the whole season at once and spoil everything for everyone else. So I really appreciate the once a week, only 30 minutes. It's good. It's amazing. I know a lot of people do not like it. I am not one of those people. I appreciate it. I think it's great that they're going to make us wait. I think it really adds to the mystique of WandaVision in particular, and I think it's going to be really cool to see how this story unfolds. Let me preface this part by saying I cannot cover every single detail in one video that you may have missed or that might hint to something else, partially because I don't have the time to, and also partially because I don't have the ability to, in the sense that I haven't read a lot of Marvel comics. I don't know a lot of backstory on characters and stuff like that some people do. So if you are interested in seeing a more in-depth breakdown of these first two episodes, I highly recommend the YouTube channel New Rockstars. I watched both of their videos on episode 1 and episode 2 and all the hidden details and Easter eggs that they found in the show, and it's also possible that there are some that no one has gotten yet. So these are just some of the details that I have noticed after watching the show 6 times now. So one of the first things that I really paid attention to was that there are a bunch of one-liners in the show that kind of don't really seem like anything at the time, but then you like think about it a little more and you're like, oh dang. This one is a little bit more of an obvious one, but in the beginning of the first episode, Wanda and Vision are bantering back and forth, and Vision mentions my wife and her flying saucers, and Wanda says my husband and his indestructible head, which if you've watched the MCU up until this point, you know his head is very much not indestructible because that is how he died in Infinity War. So that one is a more obvious one, but there's also a few throughout the show that make you think, kind of like the one in the first commercial in the first episode, which that is a whole other thing. I love that they're having commercials that are in show, but that are also Easter eggs for viewers. Like, I love that. And this line in particular is in the toaster, the Toastmate 2000. It says something along the lines of, forget about the past, this is your future. And it's like, I feel like that's both a jab at Wanda and Vision, but also to us as the viewers, because Wanda and Vision are having this new reality. We think, we still don't know what exactly is going on, but they have this whole reality now that is very much different from the last time that we saw them. So the fact that that is their reality now, and then the fact that they're having to get over their past and deal with their reality now is one thing. But then I feel like it's also a jab to those fans that are like, oh, the MCU isn't going to be the same without Iron Man and everything like that. And I feel like this series is the writers being like, hey, forget everything you know about the MCU, forget all these things you're clinging to, this is how it's going to be from here on out. And I think that's just clever, and I think it really kind of gives us a look into just how different things are going to be between Endgame and Phase 4 of the MCU. This next one-liner is said by Agnes, who I'm going to get into more in depth a little bit later in this video. But when she meets Wanda, she pauses a little bit and then she's like, charmed. And at first you're kind of like, oh, haha, that's just how they talked back in the 50s. But then, like, the more you think about it, you're kind of like, is Wanda charmed? Like, is she under a spell? Is Agnes under a spell? You know, what is the underlying meaning underneath that? Because I feel like there definitely is one, and Agnes has a lot of one-liners that are just kind of like, what does she mean by that? But that one in particular was the first one I was kind of like, does that mean something? Possibly the one scene that has the most hidden details and Easter eggs is actually the intro into the second episode, which is animated in the style of the old show Bewitched. And there are a lot of hidden details in there that some of them are kind of like, oh, ha ha ha, but also some of them, from what I understand, are hints to events in the comics or who people's actual identities might be. Some of these include, at the end of the opening intro, to the side of their little couch, there's a little Thor figurine on the little side table, which I think is a reference to the fact that, like, Thor is the reason that Vision exists. So I feel like that's a cute little homage to Thor. But there's also a lot of little, like, details that tie in with other things. For example, towards the end of episode 2, Dottie mentions with Wanda, she gives her that pop quiz about how does a housewife get blood out of her blouse by doing it herself. If you watch in the intro, she has a stain on her shirt that isn't there in the actual episode. So could be nothing, could just be a little animation mistake. I don't know, maybe we'll find out, maybe we won't, who knows. There's also a reference to skeletons, which Vision was asked about in episode 1. His boss, Mr. Hart, asked if he had any skeletons in the closet, and Vision says, I don't have a skeleton. But in the intro to episode 2, there are skeletons in, like, the cracks between, like, the second floor and the first floor when the camera pans down. So I thought that was pretty interesting too. I know there's also a helmet next to those bones that is apparently the helmet of the Grim Reaper, who I didn't know is a character in the Marvel comics. So that's interesting. Do with that information what you will. If you're big on the comics, that might mean more to you than it does to me. Also, something I noticed this last time that I was watching episode 2 is that when Wanda and Vision are first, like, shown coming to Westview, the billboard says home, it's where you make it. And I was like, further evidence that this is all some alternate reality that either Wanda has made or that has been made by others, and they have placed Wanda into it, which is a theory that I'll be getting to after I finish talking about details. But that was something that I was like, oh, I had never noticed it. The first 5 times that I watched the show, I didn't notice it, and then this time I was like, oh, whoa, that's interesting. So I think it's really cool. And also, like, just the fact, I'm kind of, like, going back and forth a little bit on what I'm talking about, but I just want to take this moment to appreciate the ability to watch this show over and over and over again so that we can see different things that we might have missed the time before, where normally if this was, like, released in theaters right now, we'd have to, like, pay to go see it again and again. So I think it's really convenient that We can watch the show as many times as we want to kind of get the full effect of what exactly we're watching. Also in episode 2 is the whole for the children thing, and this is kind of dipping into the theories as well, but if you notice, there's not any children in Westview at all, but there's a lot of like hinting towards it in regards to Wanda. Like the calendar in their house has like a child on it. Agnes keeps bothering her about, children and seduction and stuff like that. And how Dottie like works for the school and stuff like that. And I feel like it's not necessarily like, I think for the children is in regards to Wanda and Vision's twins that they will be having, presumably either in this next episode or next week's episode, just given the general timeline of how quickly the pregnancy has moved from not existing at all to Wanda being very pregnant in the second episode at the end. So I think the whole for the children thing is this kind of subconscious thing that, like, I don't know how to word what I'm thinking. I guess I feel like Wanda is kind of subconsciously being coerced into the idea that she wants kids so that she'll have kids, and then whoever has put her in this reality or whatever is then going to use her kids. But that's kind of dipping into the theory side of things a little bit more. So let me discuss this one more detail that I noticed before I go any further into that kind of thing. The color red is obviously very, very important in the show. It's the first real color that we see all the way back in the episode 1 toaster commercial. The flashing light is red, and that whole thing was unsettling because not only was the light flashing red, but the lady was just kind of like looking at the camera like she expected something of us as the viewers, and I can't quite like put my finger on it, but something about that just felt weird. But that's the first time we see the color red. Any other time we see red in the show up until the end of episode 2 is red. The helicopter's red, Dottie cuts her hand, and that's red. And also, you don't see this color, but obviously they're in the middle of this whole Bolshevik thing, the Red Scare, so red is present there. The gum that Albert, is that his name? Albert? Herbert, it's Herbert. I had to think of the joke that Vision says with Sherbert. Herbert, he offers Vision big red gum. So it could just be like a continuity thing because Wanda's powers are red, Vision is mainly red. It could just be like to coordinate with that, or maybe the color red is involved with the reality stone. And that could have something to do with where Wanda is, like what Westview actually is. And so now that we're kind of talking into that theory, let's just go ahead and discuss some of the theories that I have had and have seen for this show. So one of the main theories for this show is that, and I don't even know if this technically really counts as a theory, but I think what a lot of people think is that Wanda is in this reality that has been created by something or someone else. It could have something to do with Strucker. He was mentioned in the second episode with the watch, the commercial for the watch. For those that need a refresher, like I did, Strucker was the one that gave Wanda and Pietro their powers in the end credit scene for Captain America Winter Soldier. So So it could be something to do with Strucker, even though I think he died. But it could be something to do with him. I don't want to say that it's something to do with Sword, because I think Sword are the ones that are trying to help Wanda and Vision. And I think Sword is where we're going to see Darcy Lewis, who's in the first 2 Thor movies, and I think that's where we're going to see Jimmy Woo, I believe is his name, the detective agent guy from the Ant-Man movies. So I think Sword is where we're going to see them come in, and that's also where we're going to see Monica Rambeau, who, if I'm understanding correctly, is Geraldine, who showed up in the 2nd episode, and I'm not sure how those are all going to tie in together, and I think that's what's cool about the show, because even though I don't know, I can come up with these absolutely outlandish ideas and see if any of them make sense, and then just kind of like get rewarded if they do end up being true. Or I can just be like, oh, that was a cool thought, but that's not how it worked out. Another big theory is that the knocking that Wanda is hearing in the 2nd episode is people trying to get into this reality that's been created. Like with the helicopter that Wanda finds, it has the sword symbol on it. So a lot of people think that while it's a toy, when Wanda finds it, it's actually like a real helicopter that got through, and that's how Geraldine got through into the reality. Because if you notice, when they're at that little meeting with all the other housewives, she's like, I don't know what I'm doing here, I don't know how I got here, which could be proof that she kind of got into the reality and has now kind of been put into the reality itself and made into a character in this TV show that has been created. I have no idea anything about the beekeeper person that we see at the end of episode 2. I have no idea who it could be. Even just like looking at the silhouette when it showed him up close, I have no idea who that is. I don't have any theories. I'm just kind of curious to see where it goes from there. This isn't so much a theory as something that I hope that I noticed correctly. The voice on the radio when Wanda and Dottie are talking, I think it belongs to Jimmy Woo. It sounds like him, and like I mentioned before, I really think that it's him working with Sword to try and figure out, what happened to Wanda, how she got into this reality with Vision, and how they can get them out of there. So I'm really excited because I have no idea how it's going to logistically work, having all of these different characters from the different Marvel movies so far all meeting up into this one show, because Darcy has only ever been in the Thor movies, and then Jimmy Woo was only in the Ant-Man movies, and then we haven't even seen Monica Rambeau at all except when she was a child in Captain Marvel. So I think it's really going to be cool to see how they kind of mesh all of these characters together in one form of media. Okay, so the big thing that everyone is talking about is the character Agnes and who she really is. Now, there were a bunch of clues, details that I forgot to mention earlier, but in the intro to episode 2, there was a poster about a cat, and there's a poster about someone else that I think doesn't go along with who people are theorizing this character Agnes is actually. But from what I understand, Agnes is very widely believed to be, I believe her name is Agatha Harkness. She is a witch in the comics, and she is, I don't know if it's indebted to or if she just works with the character Mephisto, who is the devil basically, which makes a lot of sense because she kind of makes a joke about when Dottie says that the devil's in the details, and she says that's not the only place he is. So I feel like they're kind of setting the stage for Mephisto to be in here, and I think that, well, I can't decide if they're purposely being too obvious about it, as like a red herring, or if they're, or like if people are just like smart enough to be like, okay, this and this and this and this make it obvious that this is Agatha Harkness, even if they haven't said so distinctly. I don't know. I just know that there are apparently a lot of signs that point to her being Agatha Harkness. She has this brooch that she wears that apparently is worn by that character in the comics. She also, the first time we see her, has this little like cape on. She has a cape in the comics. I think it's really cool if that is her. I don't know that much about her, but I really am excited to see like new characters from the comics making their way into the MCU. And I think this is a really cool way to kind of bring in new characters and possibly new long-term bad guys. So I'm really excited to see if Agnes really is Agatha Harkness, and to see if Mephisto is brought up at all in further episodes. This show has so many theories, and I've just like scraped the surface on some of them, and I don't know, I think this is so cool. I didn't think I was going to be this into WandaVision, and I'm honestly really kind of glad that I am, because it gives me something to do. It gives me something to think about and to talk about, and I think this is really going to get people more excited and more into the MCU again, because we almost went an entire year without, or did we? Did we go a full year? We went more than a year, because the last Marvel movie that came out was Far From Home, and that was June of 2019, because that was right after Endgame. So we've gone more than a year without a Marvel anything. So I think this is really going to get people back into the MCU. I think it's going to get people theorizing about the MCU. And I think it's going to get people talking about the MCU, which is something that Marvel and Disney always wants. So I'm really excited to see more theories, more ideas. I'm excited to see things fall into place as the season goes on. And I'm so happy to have like something Marvel to look forward to again. Like I've really noticed since WandaVision came out that I've been missing new Marvel content, and I'm just so excited to have more. I'm excited to see where this goes. I'm excited to see how it ties in to Doctor Strange when the next movie comes out. And I think they said this also was going to tie into the Spider-Man movie that comes out in December as well. So there's so much to play with, so much to think about with WandaVision. And I'm hoping we are able to do the same with Falcon and the Winter Soldier and with Loki as well, because I think there's just so much that can come from these new shows and from the new characters that they're introducing, and I cannot wait to see how Marvel plays with them. Whew. So now that I am out of breath and have touched upon just a small fraction of ideas and theories about WandaVision, I'm serious. You can type in WandaVision, reaction WandaVision, Easter eggs, hidden details, stuff like that, and you'll come up with about like 30 different YouTube videos that exist that went into a lot more detail than I did. So if you're someone that likes to theorize and stuff like that, definitely give the new Rockstars a look, or just kind of search and find some new videos, because there are just so many videos out there that did so much better explaining things and pointing out things than I did. I'm just kind of talking into the void and hoping that people talk back to me. So, having said that, if you're still watching, do you have any theories, any ideas, things that you think might happen or things that you want to happen? Let me know. I would love to discuss this with everyone. I feel like I don't have anyone to talk to about Marvel except my brother, and he's not here because he lives in Texas. So we only text and we watch the show at different times, so we can't ever really like definitively at one point sit down and be like, oh my gosh, did you see this and this? Like, we always have to do it kind of later, which admittedly we'll basically be doing the same thing with this too. But I'm excited. I'm always happy to talk to people about Marvel, and I'm really excited to see where WandaVision goes and where the rest of the Marvel shows go on Disney Plus. I think this is just amazing. I think this content is spectacular. I think they're doing an amazing job toning down, specifically with WandaVision. They did such an amazing job with toning down the special effects and everything to focus more on the story, and I hope that that's something that continues through the other MCU shows as well, because I think it's just amazing storytelling. I think it's spectacular, it's unprecedented, and I can't wait to see where all of this goes, and I can't wait to see if you all have any theories that you are excited to see, because literally talk to me about Marvel, anything at all, even if it's about Falcon and the Winter Soldier or even the Loki show, which we know like next to nothing about. Anything at all about Marvel, even upcoming Marvel movies, anything like that. If you want to talk about it, leave a comment down below, because I will 100% be talking back to you all and having a discussion, because I think the most fun thing about Marvel is just discussing it with others. So definitely leave a comment on this video, like this video. If you don't follow me already, please do so, because I will be doing this every Friday for the foreseeable future. So, having said that, thank you all so much for watching. I hope you all have a wonderful week. I will see you all in the next regular video, or if not, I will see you in the next Marvel video on Friday. Bye!